around 400 acres of land at Kachi Canal. Land leveling has been done. It is out of the 100,000 acres command area that needs to be rehabilitated. We have two components in the GPI. 1A, that is the rehabilitation of the existing command area that got badly affected or damaged due to the 2022 floods. And that is around 70,000 acres that has to be rehabilitated. Whereas the remaining 30,000 acres, that is area 1B, that is a totally virgin land that has to be developed from the base. We have made an application of that would be launching on 7th January, which will be available on App Store and Google Play. Means if someone who does not have any internet access or who is out of the city or out of the station, he or she can update the progress on that app, and that app can easily be accessible to all the stakeholders. All stakeholders would be seeing the progress on fortnightly basis on that app.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Ariba Shehzadi and you're watching Balochistan Pulse. Balochistan Socio-Economic Development Project, which is often called BSDP, is one of the mega projects in the Balochistan. It aims to bring tangible changes to the local communities and rural population in the Balochistan. It has dozens of road, water and agriculture schemes under its belt. In our one of the podcasts, we interviewed Shehzad Hassan, project coordinator of the BSDP, in which we discussed the phase 1 of the BSDP, what it brings for the common population in the Balochistan. But guess what? Today he has joined us again at the studio, and today we'll be talking about the phase 2 of the BSDP, which was in the planning phase earlier, but now it has initiated, it has started, and Shehzad Hassan will tell us about what BSDP phase 2 is all about. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today in the studio. It's absolute pleasure to have you here. How are you?
Bismillah, thank you very much once again to be here on this show, and I'm highly honored to be on the show once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Can you briefly describe what BSDP phase 2 is all about and what projects are inside it?
Basically, last time when I talked about, rather I described that Balochistan Socio-Economic Development Projects encompasses basically all those initiatives or projects which are a genuine issue of a common man at grassroots level in Balochistan, which includes the roads, the water supply schemes, the dams, the infrastructure projects basically. So like phase 1, phase 2 also comprises of the same components, that is the road infrastructures, water supply schemes and the dams. Earlier we also had the agriculture sector that we segregated into Green Balochistan initiative. This time, because the Green Balochistan initiative is already taking place and it is already in its initiation and execution phase. So less the agriculture component, we have the infrastructure, the water supply schemes and the dams in BSDP phase 2.
All right, sir. Can you tell me about if we see this project next December in 2026, what will be the outcome that you are seeing of the BSDP phase 2?
Actually, when we talk about the outcomes of BSDP, whether it is phase 1 or phase 2, all of these projects, be it phase 1 or phase 2, have been designed or have been conceptualized keeping in mind that these projects have to be completed in 2 years. Like if it is phase 1 BSDP, the execution mechanism, or you can say the timelines that were earlier decided, was that it had to be completed in 2 years. So in 2026 June, we would be completing our BSDP phase 1 completely. Because rest of the portion, it stands complete, the dams and the water supply schemes. Only a few roads are left, because roads are huge projects. They are cumbersome job. So by June 2026, our phase 1 would stand complete. Likewise, as phase 2 was planned to be initiated or started in June 2025, I would like to explain that when you execute a project, you have several phases. Like first you have the planning, then you have the execution. In execution, you have to first go into the tendering phase, then you have to go into the execution phase, then the mobilization phase. And Alhamdulillah, by far we have started the execution of all the 46 projects of BSDP phase 2. So by December 2026, you would see a major portion of the water supply schemes that would stand complete, and a few of the dam projects that would also be completed by December 2026. But when you talk about the road projects of phase 2, they are this time in phase 2 we have huge road projects which comprises of almost 280 to 300 kilometers of internal farm to market roads. So road projects will take time, and by inshallah December 2027, those road projects will also be almost 80 to 90% complete.
Okay, Shazad, can you please tell us what are the major stakeholders in this BSTP Phase 2?
Like in first, I'll explain the identification mechanism. Like in phase one, the basic stakeholders were the government of Balochistan and the armed forces. They identified the issues. They identified where these schemes need to be. These schemes should be identified, and later on, those schemes were conceptualized and approved and made a part of BSDP phase 2. So actually, at the initial stage, it is the stakeholders are the armed forces and the government of Balochistan through its deputy commissioner, through the formations. And then once again, when we go into the execution phase, it is once again the departments, the communication works department for the road projects, the PHE for the water supply projects, and irrigation for the dam projects.
All right. So, what is the execution mechanism for the BSTP, as you have told us about the BSTP Phase 1? So, is it like same or is there something different?
Actually, the implementation mechanism is almost the same, but this time we have made a little bit changes that in few of the sectors, on a few of the projects, we have shifted from decentralization to centralization. Like initially in phase one, we used to had we call them actions or executive engineers in districts. They used to carry out the projects. That was a very good mechanism, but from the execution, you learn many things. From that model, we learned that in implementation, there were certain what we call communication gaps. So that need to be addressed in such huge initiatives. So in few of the projects or in few of the sectors, we have turned from decentralization into decentralization mode. Now we have project management units that are run by project directors. So in many of the implementation project in the projects, the implementation mechanism is the project directors. In this way, we have a good coordination. The PDs are in regular contact with me and the other stakeholders, and we get a better view of the implementation and the monitoring and the execution mechanism.
All right. What can you tell us about the Green Balochistan initiative?
Green Balochistan initiative, like I discussed in my that we had last discussion in the last podcast, that at that stage we were in the execution, early phases of the execution. But by now, inshallah, when we are sitting now, around 400 acres of land at Kachi Canal has been, the land leveling has been done. It is out of the 100,000 acres command area that needs to be rehabilitated. I would again repeat, I would again tell that in Kachi Canal command area development, we have two components in the GBI. One is 1A, that is the rehabilitation of the existing command area that got badly affected or damaged due to the 2022 floods. And that is around 70,000 acres that has to be rehabilitated. Whereas the remaining 30,000 acres, that is area 1B, that is a totally virgin land that has to be developed. That has to be developed from you can say from the base. You have to get the ground land leveling done. You have to develop the command area. So we are executing both the packages, the package A, the package B. And alhamdulillah, when I talk about the 339 tube wells, the agricultural solution that I talked about, the drilling and the boring has been initiated. And alhamdulillah, soon, within 4 to 5 months, we would be installing the drip irrigation system, and we would be then going to the phase of the plantation. So inshallah, by December 2026, you will see a huge difference into the agriculture sector in Balochistan under the umbrella of Green Balochistan initiative.
Okay, Shazad, what is the implementation and monitoring mechanism in this BSTP Phase 2?
Implementation, as I discussed earlier, is the same. I would again say that it is the departments who make it happen. It is the same, like I said, but at some places we have from decentralization, we have gone into the centralization mode. Whereas the monitoring, this time we have made a more aggressive approach towards the monitoring. This time we already have an online dashboard where the stakeholders are required to update it fortnightly. Now, what we have done is that we have made an application of that would be launching on 7th January, which will be available on App Store and Google Play. Means if someone who does not have any internet access, or who is out of the city or out of the station, he or she can update the progress on that app, and that app can easily be accessible to all the stakeholders from the top to the bottom. All stakeholders would be seeing the progress on fortnightly basis on that app.
Shahzad, you mentioned that BSDP Phase 1 hasn't completed yet and it has to be completed by June 2026. But if we see the BSDP Phase 1 in the 2025 whole year, what you see the major achievements that you have achieved in the Phase 1 in 2025 particularly?
A very good question. The thing is, when I talk about the benefits or the outcomes, you will see the outcomes till to date. What were the outcomes, or what you saw when these projects were completed? Actually, it has made a lot of difference and impact. I was rather a few days back. I completed my monitoring visits to the BSDP Phase 1 and Phase 2 projects. So I also visited the completed BSDP Phase 1 projects. There were few road projects, there were few water supply projects, and I could see the happiness on the faces of a common man in Balochistan, the children, the woman of the local woman, especially when I talk about the water supply schemes, because water is life, as everyone says. So I could see, and I was accompanied by other officials as well. People were totally over. They were enjoying. They could not express their feelings. They had by the facilities that we offered them at their doorsteps. Likewise, for the road projects, I went and visited 2-3 road projects. People were so much happy because once you have a road structure, you have the accessibility to the market. Or if someone wants to go to the school or to the hospital, it is the road that provides the accessibility. So I have seen, because as I told earlier as well, and that I myself visit the projects. So I have seen the impact, and people are very much happy about it. And as I said earlier in my program, that it was the people, because of whom we have gone into the Phase 2, and it was their request and their recommendations along with the stakeholders, that today we are, alhamdulillah, in the Phase 2 of the BSDP projects.
Shahzad, the water problems is one of the big problems in the Balochistan, and as you have mentioned in the previous podcast, that BSDP Phase 1 is doing a lot, is spending a lot on the water projects. What you see that BSDP Phase 1 has not done, and which will be done in the BSDP Phase 2 to fill the gaps of the water projects that needed to be there in the Balochistan?
Actually, in Phase 1, the main concentration of the projects, or the majority of the projects, was in the southern part of the Balochistan. It was the district Kalat, the district Khuzdar, the district Washok, the Gwadar and Turbat. Whereas in Phase 2, it is actually the whole Balochistan, but we have this time we have concentrated the efforts towards the northern side of the Balochistan, which was left behind in Phase 1. So when we talk about how it will fulfill the gap in Phase 2, because last time in north of the Balochistan, that is the northern districts, there was a concern that the same project should be replicated, the same idea should be replicated, so that the ground level issues, the grassroots level issues of a common man should be resolved there. So yes, in Phase 2 we have addressed that, and this time it is not confined to a particular area. This time we have identified and we are executing projects throughout the province, be it Job, be it Musa Khel, be it Khuzdar, be it Kalat. You will find, when you'll see on the map, you'll find BSDP projects in the whole province.
Shahzad, 2025 is ending, and we have seen that terrorism was on surge in this year, particularly. And we all know that terrorists are targeting these development projects, these areas where these initiatives are being worked upon. So, what you see that BSDP projects were free or were safe from those targets, or how will you see it in the 2026?
Well, this Blosan, we have 2 to 3 issues. That is the one of it is the law and order. Other is the difficult terrains, which I always talk about. But Alhamdulillah, despite of a few little small incidents that I could not say were directly related to some terrorism, Alhamdulillah, our projects implementation in the implementation of the projects, we did not face any such issues. And with the blessings of the Almighty Allah, I would say, and with the coordinated efforts of our law enforcement agencies, the executing departments, Alhamdulillah, till to date, we haven't faced such issues. And I am hopeful and I pray that in the future, be it BSDP phase 2 or any other phase, such we do not we don't face any such issues. And yes, it is an issue in Balochistan, but by now, and we haven't faced any such issue. And the departments, although we do take maximum and utmost care in the execution departments, as I always say to my implementing partners, that first the human lives come, then it is the project. So you must take care of your officers, all the contractors, all the employees who are present on the ground. And whenever whenever we are in the position, or there is something that we are identified that there could be something, or there's a threat, something, we first of all we do all the spade work. When spade work is done, then we go into the implementation phase. So in crux, I would say that Alhamdulillah, by far, though we had 2-3 incidents, but Alhamdulillah, overall, the progress has been Alhamdulillah fine, without any incident. And I hope and I pray that this continues in our phase 2 and in further phases as well.
We are also hopeful, and we hope the same. Shahzad, the phase 2, BSTP phase 2 is the continuation of the phase 1. So do you have any plans of further continuation into further phases?
This is a very, very good question, very important question. Actually, yes, we have. Initially, it was on the drawing board, but now we, after the approval from the competent authorities, we are going to the phase 3, inshallah. But it would be a little bit different from phase 1 and phase 2. I would like to apprise you by this podcast that with BSDP, there is another initiative that has been launched in Balochistan, that is BSDI. You would have heard about it, Balochistan Special Development Initiative. The BSDI is also focusing same on the grassroots level issues of Alhamdulillah, with BSDI is also a very successful model, and its success is being discussed at every level, from the provincial government to the federal government to the military leadership. And recently, you would have heard that the military leadership appreciated the efforts under the BSDI that is happening in Balochistan. So in BSDP phase 3 or phase 4, we would be switching from micro level projects to macro level projects, because a lot have been done by BSDP at micro level, the water supply schemes or roads, small roads, farm to market roads. But because we also have the BSDI model, so the BSDI model will focus on the micro level projects, whereas the BSDP projects or the model will focus on the macro level issues of Balochistan. The farm to market roads concept will be there. It will keep continuing that, but there would be something different, like water conservation projects, big dams, interconnectivities, provincial interconnectivities, large water supply schemes, or something like that. And there is another discussion that we are doing with the relevant stakeholders, that if we try to bring some foreign direct investment through BSDP into Balochistan. So that is also under discussion.
That would be great then. Thank you so much, Shazad Hassan. You give us very insightful discussion on the BSTP Phase 2. Shazad Hassan was present with us and he briefed us and gave his insights on the BSTP Phase 2, which is trying to bring tangible changes to the rural community and the local population of the Balochistan. We'll see you in next episode.